You're listening to the True North Success Podcast. Real stories of personal, professional, and financial wins from Alberta's best. With your hosts, Gary Ma and Amy Kim.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Today my special guest is Bernard Roth. He is a partner and the National Energy Group co-leader at Dentons Canada, where he has practiced for over 37 years. He is a highly respected expert in energy, environmental, and Aboriginal law, specializing in complex regulatory matters and administrative law. Throughout his career, Bernie has acted as counsel before major provincial and federal boards, including the National Energy Board and the Alberta Utilities Commission. He holds a Master's of Law from Columbia University and has been recognized as a leading lawyer by Who's Who's Legal and Legal 500 Canada. Beyond his legal practice, Bernie is a thought leader who frequently publishes articles on the future of the Canadian oil and gas industry. It is my pleasure to have Bernie Roth on the show today. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Gary.
So, Bernie, I gave a quick overview of your success, but can you fill in the details of what you do, who you serve, and how long you've been doing this for?
So it's really the Alberta energy industry. Alberta has a very rigorous environmental regulatory regime. In some respects, Gary, you're partially responsible for that because you were at a time Minister of Environment, and people don't always appreciate that how rigorously all of our industries in Alberta are regulated, but our energy industry in particular. And so my career has been more or less spent on helping industry, specifically oil and gas, oil sands, pipelines, get approved and constructed. The overall idea is that we make our decisions here in Alberta based on the objective public interest at any given time. It's kind of independent from the views of government at any given time. It's in the best interests of the Albertans, and that's where our regulatory regime works. And we have a very independent regime that allows people that are affected by the decisions that we make, landowners, Indigenous groups, others, to all get their say. And I participate in that process to make sure that the decisions that are made in the best interests of Albertans generally, but at the same time, respect how those decisions may affect others. So, and I really like it. I feel that I do something meaningful that I'm proud to tell my kids about.
Right on, right on. I mean, you've been a lawyer for many years. What actually led you to become a lawyer when you first started?
Yeah, Gary, and you get quite often get answered. I probably would say this, it goes back to when I was in grade 4 or 5. I come from a very large farming family in Saskatchewan. So there were quite a few of us. I'm the youngest of 9, and and happened to be the only boy in the family. I had an option to continue on farming, but I was more interested. I had a brother-in-law who became a lawyer that was quite a bit older than I was, and when I was in grade 5, he was a lawyer, and I just kind of got fixated on that's what I wanted to do. And I pursued kind of my university career based on that, doing an undergraduate degree in political science and economics, which I really liked in and of itself. And kind of practice for law was just an extension. That's kind of, I've made a decision at a very early age that was my goal, and I just worked at it and achieved it.
Right. I mean, you've been very successful, 37 plus years at it. Like, how did you end up specializing in the energy sector through that time period?
It's fairly interesting because I started out as a litigation insurance defense lawyer, and I did that for the first 3 years of my practice, and then I went back to law school. I went to Columbia University in New York to do a master's degree. I was always thinking of wanting to teach.
Hmm.
One way to do that is to do a master's degree, and I had teaching opportunities. The only thing is, at the same time, I came from a large family. I liked a large family, and I wanted to have a large family. And supporting them is far easier to do. There's two ways to do it. You can be a farmer, and that tends to work out. But if you want to raise a large family in the city,
Hmm.
you tend to need a significant income. So teaching wasn't
Hmm.
going to cut that. So after I finished my graduate degree, I came back to the same firm I was at, and I said, "Hey guys, I just finished up my graduate degree. Do you have something I can do?" I was thinking at the time maybe insolvency or kind of something more related to my litigation practice. And they
Yeah.
said, "Well, no, the guys in the office are starting a major oil sands hearing up in Fort McMurray." It was 1993, and it was a major expansion of the Syncrude project. And they
Hmm.
said, "You're going to be an energy regulatory lawyer. That's what we're going to do with you." And they sent me up to Fort McMurray for what ended up being one of the longest hearings in Alberta history to that point. So I got to know Fort McMurray very well, and I got to know the oil sands business very well, and I essentially worked on almost all the Syncrude projects following that right up to the last mines that have been approved in Alberta here in 2018, 2019. So I had a long career doing that, but kind of it more or less my goal of becoming a lawyer was achieved. But once I got into the practice of law, it really was kind of a fluke as to how I ended up
Hmm.
here. But it was really close to things that I was interested in: political science, economics, public policy. And again, as I just suggested it earlier in the intro, that you're kind of participating in fundamental decisions that the province is making and the country is making as to what's in our collective best interests and how we should proceed. And so it relates to my undergraduate work, but quite frankly, I just fluked into it and got lucky.
Well, I mean, I hear that, it's really good to specialize in certain areas, and you've certainly specialized on the energy sector. What kind of sets you apart from the competition? Like, what comes easy to you that others, find challenging?
I think what really sets me apart is how interested I am in the industry, in energy,
Hmm.
and and I grasp that really our wealth and our prosperity is all tied to energy, regardless of where we are. We can be in Canada,
Hmm.
we can be in Africa, we can be in anywhere, but really what we can do for ourselves is totally tied to energy and we're making very important decisions as to like what type of energy do we produce and where it is. So I think that fundamental thing, and I'm also extremely curious. I like to know how the oil sands works technically, how
Hmm.
you mine it, how you upgrade it. I'm just fascinated, and I find if you have a great interest in it, you really like it. I don't it's not just a job. Like it's almost one of those
Hmm.
things that well, I told you up front I had a big family, how to pay for it, so I'm kind of in it. But I've never just done it for the money. I like it, and I find in life the things you tend to excel at are things you really enjoy doing,
Right.
and I've really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. And I think what really distinguishes me is my interest in the industry, my clients' businesses, and
Yeah.
I think that helps me. And obviously, I did very well accomplished in the law, and I did very well in law school, and yeah, and it just kind of carried through, and also work very hard. Although might have been not been hardworking enough to be a farmer. Lawyer work is hardworking. I like hard work, and never been afraid of it, and that's helped accomplish it. The hard work has been easy if you enjoy it.
Right, right. Well, it doesn't, it's no longer work, especially if you really enjoy something, and you have the curiosity to look into things and want to find out more and things like that.
Oh, absolutely. And that's academia, you get a little bit more choice as far as what you pursue. In law, you have to pursue what your clients bring to you. But by and large, when you're an energy regulatory lawyer, the type of things they're bringing to you are of interest to you. So
Right.
there's not too many dull moments. I do try and write, whether they're academic law journal articles, blogs, posts on LinkedIn. I do try and write on that to kind of make my views more broadly known. So I enjoy doing that as well.
Right, right. What kind of tips or suggestions would you give someone who wants to be more successful?
I know. So I have six kids, and I have this some of these questions all the time. I always wanted one of my kids to be a lawyer, and I've accomplished that. But there's a few more that are still going through. And I think the key to success is hard work.
Mhm.
But you have to combine that with a sense of enjoyment and also a sense of balance. Like in my life, family is comes very highly, right? So you have to kind of adjust that and enjoy them, enjoy family life, find time to get the work done. So you have to work very hard, but you also
Yeah,
have to work very hard at kind of work-life balance in
right.
order to do it. So yeah, and do something you're happy doing. If you're not happy doing it,
Hmm.
you're probably not going to be very likely to be successful.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Because, if you don't like doing it, you're not going to put your energy and your effort and things like that towards it, and then it's just not as good.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. What's one of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome in your career, and how were you able to turn that into a positive?
Like I get this into a little bit of political. I'd say it started, Gary, probably, and you might have experienced this during your term in government, where this transition in society that oil and gas was evil. And I had you reach a low point where your kids won't say you're an oil and gas lawyer. I'm an environmental lawyer. I'm not an oil and gas
Okay.
lawyer because oil and gas is
Yeah.
bad. And I just know that that's not true, right? And so, and we talk about like the last lost decade sometime that we had kind of a federal government that was not too keen on our industry and was posing great challenges to it. But that started, Gary, I think that started when you were in your latter years in government. So I saw that challenge really starting to sneak up to us, probably just post the Klein administration, and things were really pushing along, and and people started buying this, that the oil and gas is like a tobacco industry and it's bad for us, and there's a bunch of people that are just profit motivated, and really renewables are far cheaper, better for the environment, and there's just this conspiracy to keep them down. And I'm just going, no, this is wrong, this is wrong. And so that was kind of the greatest challenge. And with that, it was also challenging from a business perspective. It was challenging for industry. So not only the legal work, I used to doing big projects, right? And big
Hmm.
projects, whether they're oil sands developments or pipelines associated with oil sands developments, it's affecting your career and your business. So that's why, and it really became, oh my goodness, are we ever going to get over this? And then I felt that this inflection point that we hit just prior to maybe a year prior to the last federal election, when people just found out like the truth, and the truth eventually becomes
Mm.
gets out there. When your productivity goes down, revenue goes down, job prospects go down, and you're looking at your bills, you're looking at what the carbon tax is doing to you, and you just say, "Hey, this doesn't make sense." And eventually that comes through. And my political science background tells you if you're in a free and democratic society, eventually you'll right the ship. And I think it looks like we've righted it. So I'm back in the age of optimism. But I'll tell you, there were quite a few years there that you're kind of banging your head. And that's why I say what I feel such great value is participating in the public interest decisions that kind of generate wealth and prosperity. And you just see that people aren't going in that direction, and they're not valuing you, and they're kind of maybe even suspecting, oh my goodness, an oil and gas lawyer. Your kids don't want to admit you're an oil and gas lawyer. That's yeah, that's not happy, not happy times.
Right, right. So actually, I just want to clarify that I'm not the Gary Marr. That was the politician.
Okay, so sorry, I was saying, Gary, you lost a lot of weight. And Gary might have, not that Gary
No
looks really
problem.
good, looks really good. Gary, and I was wondering, and I didn't want to be rude, and I haven't watched your podcast before, so you can leave this in or edit it out. It's part of
No, that's
the humor.
fine.
You're not related to that Gary Marr, are you?
Well, very distantly we are. If
Okay,
you go back several generations back, then yes, we
okay,
probably come from the same village area,
okay.
back in China.
Okay, and I was really, because I think when you're coming on, I was going to ask you. You don't look like, and I haven't seen Gary in a long time.
Right,
Like I
right, right, right,
did, and
right.
I knew he was heading up the Canada West Foundation. I say, well, I might have a podcast too. But he's looking a lot younger and better looking than I ever remembered him.
Yeah. So I just wanted to clarify that. But it sounds like things are going really well for you and your business. As a busy executive, a lot of time is spent running, the active business. When looking towards the future, many don't want to have to be working so hard for creating that income. So many look at different ways of creating income and profits outside of actively working. Things like maybe investing in stocks, bonds, crypto, or using a financial planner. What are your thoughts about ways of creating income outside of your active work?
Look, it's been investing, and it's usually a hedge. So one of my theories is I quit investing directly in the oil and gas industry because I feel I'm heavily invested in it in the sense that
Hmm.
that's what my job and my income is related to. So if the oil and gas industry is doing well, I've got lots of work to do and I'm doing well. The oil and gas industry and how well it's doing also tends to influence the value of real estate in Calgary. And
Hmm.
so one of your biggest assets of anyone is your real estate, your house, your home. And I'm finding, well, that's kind of already directly tied to the oil and gas industry. So my idea was, okay, well, you kind of got to diversify. And I'm interested in technology and things
Okay.
I like and products that I like. Uh, I had the first well, not the first. I didn't have an Apple IIe. I had the first Macintosh computer, and I've been an Apple fan since 1983. And
Okay.
and there were some tough years in there too, but I was one of the first guys to get one of the new iMacs when they first came out. And I always thought their technology was cool and
Hmm.
their products were cool. So I got into to that. So I look at people that are doing things that I really consider to be interesting. So Apple was an example. Then the
Yep.
other thing I consider to be doing so on my Apple Watch, what I find fascinating is I have satellite texting service from my watch. So I
Oh,
say,
wow.
who provides this? Like, how does this happen? So, what's the company that actually has satellites up in the air that can catch me in Kananaskis country and send text to my kids? So, you look
Mm.
into that company and say, hey, that's pretty cool. And then you
Hmm.
do some research on it. The latest thing I haven't made a call on yet, and it's kind of related a little bit to the energy business. And I got into this a little bit in the early years of climate change and our commitments under Kyoto or fuel cells. And I
Hmm.
was rather convinced that fuel cells are highly efficient, and especially ones that are uh, fueled by natural gas. And
Hmm.
you create electricity, you can create some heat with it. And there's a couple companies out there that are really doing some remarkable stuff in generating electricity and heat that can be used for industrial purposes through fuel cells using natural gas as a feedstock. Uh,
Hmm.
know a little bit about chemistry because I did take did chemistry, and I kind of understand that it's a lot easier to get energy out of methane than it is
Hmm.
to do it out of the other things and try and get hydrogen from water through electrolysis and things like that. So relatively convinced that anybody that can crack the nut with technology and use our abundant natural gas in order to create electricity and create heat, that's a pretty efficient way to do. So I haven't pulled the trigger on that. I did get kind of burned on that in the early cycles of investment about 25 years ago. So I'm being a little bit cautious before I get back into that. But technology, I would say, is where I find the interest in investing. If you and also product driven, if you can find somebody that has a technology that's unique, that
Hmm.
isn't easily replicated, and that you really like their product and how it works. So that's kind
Right.
of fundamental to Apple, and it's always been that way before Apple was ubiquitous, and before they had an iPhone or anything else. I really liked the stuff they had, and that's continued to be a good bet. And then getting into things like the satellites and satellite
Hmm.
communications and data services. So I kind of that's where and I consider it to be a little bit of a hedge as against the energy the industry. A little, it's equally risky and volatile,
Right.
but that's where I've kind of put my investment interests more recently.
Yeah, so it sounds like yeah, you still need to consider looking at investing, creating a plan. I guess in your case, you've kind of focused a little bit more on the technology side. Other people may want to look at technology or other areas, but it's important to consider, something in the future as well.
Oh,
So,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
And I always consider my biggest investment to be my six kids, who I always tell them their responsibility is to take care of their parents when their parents get old. So that's kind of my biggest investment by far that I've made.
Right.
I've invested more into that than anything else.
Right. As we're wrapping up our interview, what kind of exciting plans do you have in the next 6 to 12 months?
I think it's gonna be to spend a little bit. We're starting to have grandchildren, and my wife
Hmm.
really likes that idea. Yeah, so I think we're going to be spending more time doing that, and we have to travel around because they all don't live here. So I think we're moving into this phase in life of being grandparents, which so far so good. We have two, and I think that's going to take up a considerable amount of our time.
Well, that's definitely an exciting period
uh,
transition to become, more grandparent, become a grandparent and look after the family as well, type of thing.
yeah.
Bernie, that wraps it up today. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your insights and thoughts. It was a real pleasure to have you on the show. And Bernie, if people want to connect with you, what's the best way?
The best way to connect with me is probably my email address. All you have to do is Google me, and you'll get my V card. And
Okay.
you send me an email, and I am dedicated to my work email, not on weekends, but during weekdays. I'm sitting in my office, and I don't miss too many emails.
Okay. So email. You're also on LinkedIn as well.
LinkedIn, I'm there. I'm not as good. I tend to publish on it. I'm not
Right.
as good at going to it. So
Right.
I will get there, and I will check messages. But people, because think, what's the latest thing? I've kind of owing LinkedIn an article, and I've been thinking about things, but I got distracted by a few things. So I haven't posted there my latest thoughts on. My latest thoughts are all directed towards decarbonization of oil and gas and whether that's a doable thing here and how it might work. So might put that in LinkedIn. We'll be writing a law review article on it. So, but people will find out maybe through LinkedIn as to how that's progressing shortly.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gary. Apologize for the Gary Marr, and because I did not notice because until I'm reading your little name on the screen, bottom of the screen that you're Ma, not Mar. Okay, so and I do know the difference, but I will hold and I'll publicly say that you are very good. You don't look like Gary. I should have caught that a little bit earlier. Much younger, better looking than Gary is.
So the Chinese character for Ma and Mar are actually the same character.
Okay.
It was the English translation when they, through immigration where they, messed it up.
Well, and in the English letter H and R, if you don't read really close, if it's not capitalized, and I looked at it too quickly when your assistant set this all up for us. So I should
Right.
have clarified right to begin with when the visual wasn't completely connecting, Gary.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay.
Want to share your success story? Apply to be a guest at truenorthsuccessshow.com/guest. We'd love to hear from you.